Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to be getting into, I keep stumbling on that, part 22 of History of Fleetwood Mac LPs. It's getting kind of weird right now. I've had everything pretty much, by genre, and just like with the 45s, not just like, but I've had the singles that go, and then they go with those albums and so on and so forth. And right now I'm kind of getting into like thinner lands where these albums actually didn't come out till 2018, 2025, or what have you, but I'm putting them in the pile as if, as to what year they came out. One thing I didn't pull was Lindsey Buckingham's Out of the Cradle, because that goes with his box set. And I've mentioned several times that I'm going to be doing box sets separately. This also is a box set I found. It so happens that I have a couple of Stevie's albums out because right after the box set came out, Street Angel, example, Trouble in Shangri-La, example, had been issued on colored vinyl, and I happen to have those, so those are in the pile. But today we're making a pretty big jump from 1993 all the way up till 2004, so it's kind of a big stretch. And I would be remiss, absolutely, if I didn't start off this video with a correction from last video, because guess what got left out? Right after I made the video, this thing pops up in yet another pile, and it never fails. And listen, I'm not going to keep going forward and trying to see if something is in there, from the future that should be in the back or whatever, because I think that's I meant to do that. I'm just going to say that from here on out. I meant to do that. That brings a certain je ne sais quoi to my videos. Am I right? I just don't think they'd be me if I didn't err and have you screaming at me, be like, no, there's a single from there. And I'm like, psych, because I do have it. And I'm just not showing it until the next time. So I thought I kept thinking there was I think I was saying sometimes it's a bitch. I still I just find it unusual that there's not an American release of something, like I said in the last video, if you remember. But here we are. The one little part I left out from 1991. Sometimes it's a bitch, UK single. You knew I had it. I was just waiting. I was just testing you. Back cover, slip sleeve. Great combo of songs with Sometimes It's a Bitch, Desert Angel, and Battle of the Dragons. Again, this would have been a great one to have had in the day. Of course, the LP would have been great, but, just when you're putting on a record and, it's great to have the new song on the first side, the new song on the back, and then a B-side you don't listen to that often. I think that's a great combo. So there's that. Just to start off my video, here's the vinyl. This one is a play at 45 RPM. So there's that. And let's just go right into 1993. This is a really weird thing, and this is all I have for 1993, but this is pretty special. And some of you right away will be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. The rest of you might be like, what? Huh? I thought they just toured together for, what's and giggles. No. Rod Stewart actually not only did Stevie Nicks attend a couple parties with Rod, not with them as in with him, but there's a lot of photos of her and Rod Stewart at a party where he was being honored by his record label. And I think it was like 78. They definitely knew each other. And I just found another connection too, and I forget what it was. It was a really super early one. It's cool trivia too. And it's something about, I think, Mick Fleetwood with the band that had for like a hot minute a really super young Rod Stewart, because before he was Rod Stewart in the 80s, 70s and 80s, he was in Faces, but he's in a couple other blues bands and such. So, but the reason for this album is because of the very, very unusual cover he does of Stand Back, which some of you may or may not know. And this is not an easy record to come by. This is out of France. We're from France, right? A couple of you got that last reference. Yeah, and like I said, it came out in 1993. I don't know that much about his music, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm hit and miss with him. So I know like Ruby Tuesday is a big song for him. Or no, was it his song? Is that him who sang that? No. Who sang Ruby Tuesday? The Beatles? Anyway, so that's on here. But so I don't know if this is kind of like a compilation of greatest hits or whatever. It does not credit Stevie on here, which I noticed, which is kind of odd. Usually on the record, it would say something, but so I don't know if it's missing an inner sleeve with credits or what, but yeah, really cool to have. I know that there are, and I put them in here where Stevie Nicks is a guest on a vocal or an album, plenty of things like that. But it's kind of unusual to have one where, well, yeah, I mean, I had the Louise Goffin and stuff like that, but this one's kind of a rare one, so I'm really stoked to have this one and be able to share it with you guys. And if you haven't heard Rod Stewart sing Stand Back, I wouldn't say run. I would say walk at your own pace. If you don't get there today, watch it another time. It's not bad. It's not Stevie Nicks, right? That's Stevie Nicks' song. Like, whoa. Like, okay. Unfortunately, I was gifted these albums by an amazing woman. She's a good friend, and so I have them sealed. I'm not going to open them, but this was just issued. The Stevie Nicks' box set came out in, now what year was it? 2022, which again, that video is going to be kind of hard for me to do because I was nearly entirely gifted that box set, and it's just so special to me, but I digress. Anyway, Street Angel was first issued on LP in that box set, and then I guess they realized, hey, maybe people don't want to buy the whole box set for the records, their 50th copy of Belladonna, what? But because Street Angel, Trouble in Shangri-La, and In Your Dreams were being released on vinyl for the first time, they began with releasing Street Angel and Trouble in Shangri-La alone separately. They did also eventually release In Your Dreams, which I don't yet have. In fact, I just put up on a board somewhat recently that I didn't even realize it came out October of last year on green vinyl. I somehow missed that entirely. So hopefully by the time you guys get to this video, I will be caught up and have that, but not likely. But in the meantime, I have this, and having this on vinyl is pretty special. The sound transfers, it's okay. It's not the best. And the work they did on the covers are just, they really, it's like they Xeroxed it and they used the lowest pixel possible to get the quality, which, for the price of both the box set and these re-releases, which was no joke, you would think that they could just, give it the nicest treatment possible. I will step aside and hope that, as I've mentioned in the past, that when Rhino Records gets my memos and redoes, repackages, remasters, Rock a Little, Other Side of the Mirror, and Street Angel, that will have a nice, much better picture, better pixel. But in the meantime, there was this, and this is 1994 Street Angel, and it is newly available on vinyl. This came out in 2024, January. But I want to say it first appeared on vinyl in the box set, which I'm pretty sure came out in 2023, maybe 22. So there's that. Hot on the heels of that, again, this came out in 2011, but I put it in 1994 because it's a show from 1994. If you're going to get a live show bootleg of something like this, you're going to go grab this. This is really good. This is a Stevie Nicks show from House of Blues. Unfortunately, it's not in full, but you know, it's a pretty well, pretty much all of them. I will take this off to show you, which I normally, sorry, I didn't do that in advance. Normally, I don't do. Are you a person who, when you get a record, if it's bootleg, if it's gatefold, you open it up, have a look. Ooh, that's really neat. You get the records out, you repackage the records, and then you put the shrink wrap back on. Please don't tell me I'm the only one that does that. And are you good at that? I'm really good at that. When I go to a signing or something like that and I buy a record and the artist just rips off I have a freaking coronary, like Virgo OCD. And when they sign it and I do have the shrink wrap and I skinny it back on, they're like, and my friend always makes fun of me, like, don't, that's her thing. She can do that. So please answer me. So please let me know I'm not the only one who does that. Back to the show. Very nice packaging. It's bootleg, like I said. There's a great write-up on Stevie. A great photo of her. That's why I took this. Normally I'll just leave this on and never look at this again on the inside because the records are out. But I wanted to show you guys. And then again, the back. But the sound quality of this thing is it's really, really good. It's really done nicely. And this is what the vinyl looks like. Has the picture, and then on the label, what's on side A and B, or 1 and 2, whatever. And then 2 record sets. So again, this came out in 2011. This is, you can probably still find this maybe on Amazon. I don't know if you're able to buy it on Discogs because it is technically a bootleg. I would scour eBay for it if it's something you're interested in, but the sound and the show. Stevie Nicks might have been, and I guess maybe I should talk a little bit more about that, and I'll talk at length because I try to keep the videos concise, as you will know. And I'll probably definitely get way more into it with the scrapbooks because I'll be talking about a whole scrapbook and a whole era. But Stevie Nicks during Street Angel, not the peak and her best time. She didn't feel at her best. But she still gave us something, a little part of her, for better or worse. And, the album has its hits and misses. I love it. I love the album. But live, holy hell, she sounded fantastic. For all the people who are like, she lost her voice, those people want to go there and hear the completely coked out belladonna wild heart Stevie Nicks. And although she's still out of it, this time a little bit more about, prescription meds than, street meds, she still really gave it her all. Her heart was really into it. Stevie Nicks is a stage performer. She's just meant to be on stage. And she doesn't phone it in. She always just gives it her best. And there's something just very wild about Street Angel. And I think any feelings that she had or doubts she had, she just really overcomes those when she gets out on stage. And when she comes out there, like I said, she just really gave it her all. And this capture, I don't know that that's the best show on the tour, but it's a damn good one. So any shows that you can catch from Street Angel, I highly advise you to go look them up on YouTube, or again, if you're looking to purchase one, that would be the one to get. So sorry about that. We're jumping way ahead, and I'm sure I'm way out of, well, no, not really, 1994, sorry, to 1997. I'm confused because I'm looking at these dates. Once again, we are, out of order in the sense that this album came out, and I keep saying reissued. It was issued on vinyl for the first time in 2018. The sound on this is pretty rich. It's pretty great. It gives you goosebumps all over again. You know, it starts in on the chain and you're off on the journey. It's 1997 all over again. Big deal. But I put this in 1997 instead of 2011. The downside to this album is they just didn't give us jack squat. You know, they just, whoa, that's what you get right there. No inside sleeve, you know, no nothing. Just the records, which are nice. Black vinyl, no colored vinyl, which, okay, that's fine. But just, you know, they just put it out as like, meh, okay, here you go. You know, give it a little love. And again, when these came out, like this bad boy here was like $50 when it came out. Hell, they've just released the not just I'm super behind on current LPs, and one of them is the Mirage Live, like the HBO special, and I think that show's pretty much in its entirety on vinyl. It's three records, but I think only 5 sides, or maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, and that came out with a $60 price tag on it, so it's like $20 an album, which, okay, like that, it doesn't sound so bad, but $60. And so then, you know, when this came out is the same time as Dance, this was like $40-50, so it was easily $100 to go out and get 2 records. And again, we're fans. I'm talking to other fans here. You know, you're picking up stuff that you have already. So even though you maybe didn't have this on vinyl, you have it on CD, cassette, DVD, VHS, wherever. You have it. I mean, did you really need it on vinyl? Well, I did. But, you know, and then you're charging me that much, and then you're just giving me this, like, meh packaging. But, you know, who's laughing because I bought it, right? It'll just piss you off. Yeah, hopefully again they'll do this as well. We want, it's where have they gotten up to, Tango on the Night, with remastered, redone box sets. So we should have this and Say You Will, maybe. I don't think they do the greatest hits. I mean, they could, because maybe, I mean, the 88 one, oh, Behind the Mask, that would be amazing, just because that's very different. That'd be really cool to see that done. But maybe we'll get a little bit nicer packaging when, because they're gonna milk it when they reissue it again as either deluxe or box set or colored vinyl. I'm sure they'll do that. But I am very grateful for the sound. It sounds nice. It's a really good sound. So what did come out in 1997 legit, though, was this 12-inch single, much like the 45. So this is the last 45 in my collection of Fleetwood Mac, unless you count the Fireflies and Farmer's Daughter that came with the live 1980 box set or remaster or whatever. But, you know, whatever. But this would be the last 12-inch. Am I right about that? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. 12-inch that came out for Fleetwood Mac. And this one kind of goes for a little penny right now. This one is Landslide, the remix, the string mix, the analog mix, and the live album version, just like the CD single. So we had a 45 with 2 sides. We had this version with the 4 mixes, and we had the CD with the 4 mixes. Real simple label. So that was a single that came out for 1997. This I had mentioned in another video. I had Deep Dish had also done a long play or a DJ mix combo of what the heck was it? They did Planets of the Universe or Dreams. Anyway, I'm not sure. But this was I was mentioning how I was at like a DJ record store and they had a bunch of singles and this was Dreams of Stevie and I don't quite remember what this one is. It's if I recall it's not terrible. It seems like there's a bunch of Fleetwood Mac songs in there, but real small, and then just completely mixed out and then dubbed, you know, dubstep or whatever, shoegaze. I don't even know what the hell you want to call it anymore. But I put it in here because this is around the time that I found it. So, but it has no year. I know nothing about this. Josh Patrick's Mission Mix. At the time when I first got it, it wasn't even on Discogs. Maybe it is now. Maybe there's more information, but so blank on the back. But yeah, just a mix, a weird mashup of Fleetwood Mac. I wouldn't even call it a bootleg. I think it's just a professional DJ, you know, mixer person's record. I don't know. One more time again. This came out in 2024, like I said, but the album's from 2001, obviously. This one came out on turquoise. It's kind of like a turquoise color. I had one open, but then I got these ones that were sealed, so I kept the sealed ones. The three-dimensional one was on a red, which just seems so dumb. That should have been like on a real pretty pink vinyl. I don't know why they did red, but and then this one is like on a turquoise, which goes with it, like which you would think of the sea. But do you see turquoise there? No, there's no turquoise. They've done a nice golden yellow, a nice kind of burnt 70s, you know, Tupperware orange. You know what I'm talking about. A nice green, a nice limoncello see-through. That would have been gorgeous, but it's freaking turquoise. Like, yeah, it's just my opinion. Whatever. Sure. Thank you. Thank you for releasing it. That way I can play this one if I want to instead of taking it out on my box set. But, just going to say, turquoise. I think the sound on this is not terrible. I think the sound is definitely better on the box set, probably because of the colored vinyl. Not disrespecting the colored vinyl aspect of it, like so many people do, and I've talked a little bit about that back and forth. But just, you know, on the box set, it is black vinyl, 180 grain vinyl, and which I think this one is supposed to be 180 because it's pretty heavy. Or, well, it's two records, so maybe not, just colored. But I think the better sound is the one on the box set, but this one doesn't sound terrible. Releases that did come at the time in 2001 would be the first Planets of the Universe remix, which was a white label promotional item issued by Reprise Records. This was making a big hit on the dance club circuit, which was really neat for Stevie. It was really neat for her to have something like that. And this Tracy Young person really just made it go, you know, sky high. So that was pretty cool. So this is a promo version of Stevie Nicks' Planets of the Universe Tracy Young Club remix at 10 minutes and 27 seconds. It is no joke. And Tracy Young Universal dub at 8 minutes and 8 seconds. But wait, there's more. Then there was a swear I'm missing one. There was a 2 record. No, that's right. So here's the sticker on it, right? And again, this was promo, but see how the label's green now instead of white? So this includes the first part there that I just showed you, I think. Let me see if I'm right. Yes. So this has what's on this first white one here, but on different records. And it also includes the illicit club mix at 7 minutes and 49 seconds, illicit vocal dub instrumental at 7 minutes and 27 seconds. So there's 3 versions here. The 8-minute and 8 version, which is on one side of the white vinyl here, and then the illicit vocal dub, 7 minutes and 32 seconds. So 5 different versions of it right here on 2 promo only green label records with this cool sticker. Then there's the one that you could go buy at the store, just like the Mcvie single, and it had, I guess it's the same thing as the green, had 5 versions. So this is just a legit, we can buy a copy, as this is the promo copy. So this one is also sealed, but this was the, and I love that cover, right? That was so cool to get such a large picture like that. Maxi single, all the versions on the back. Did any of you play this a lot? You know, it's funny because I really dug it a lot, but I didn't play it as much as I thought I would have. And when I go back now, I find it's kind of dated for me. But I listen to that album like crazy. I still listen to the album, and I love the song on the album. I like the versions, and when these came out, again, it was so amazing. It's so cool for Stevie to be on a different kind of chart. Not only was Trouble in Shangri-La charting well for her, but having this going on to, be on dance charts was pretty cool. But I did not listen to this as much as I thought maybe I would have. Like the I Can't Wait singles, when those came out, those are just, the grooves are way too deep by how much I played that. This one I mostly listened to in my car on the CD single, and just not as much again as I thought I would have, but I sure did like them. And then this I found very recently. This came out in 2019. Again, I only added it to my collection because of what's on here. But I thought it was really cool. I was just at a record store. I had some trade credit. I had no money, so it was really cool to kind of go shopping because I've been freaking broke for a long time, and get some new stuff that I could. And this is a really cool I'm Every Woman, Decades in the Groove. It is a Warner Brother celebrating 60 years of records. But this record is all female singers. Cher, Emmylou Harris, Shaka Khan, but Christine McVie and Stevie Nicks are on here. And on the cover here on the front, it shows Chris. And then Stevie on the front. Again, I'll take this off to show you. Oh yeah, she is. Didn't have to take that off right there. But yeah, it's just a really neat, and because it's Planets of the Universe, that's why I have it with this album. And then it's really neat because inside there are little write-ups. So we have the Christine McVie and the Stevie part. So now this came out, like I said, way later than the album, than Trouble in Shangri-La did. This came out in 2018, but I just keep it with Trouble in Shangri-La because that's the song that's on there. So I thought that was a cool little thing. And then there's so much other great stuff. I mean, Tegan and Sarah are on here. Lorena McKennitt, which I love that song. The Mummers Dance or whatever. So 90s. You have some Cher on here. You have some new artists too. But, then we're back down to like Sheila E. and Glamorous Life. So just really some cool stuff on there. Yeah, and then this is how the record looks. So I'm going to wrap up this video. We're just about the 30-minute mark. I'm going to say the same thing I pretty much did about the dance, and I'm very thankful that we got it. But at the same time the dance was released, they released Say You Will on vinyl. Of course, we all know this came out in 2003, so it was in order of 2003, even though it got issued in 2018. So it's okay. I just keep the sticker there because that's how I am. On my lists, it's listed as it came out. But I have like a little subline that, says that I do have it on vinyl. So just so if I look either way, I can kind of cross-reference it. But much like the dance, like I said, this is what you get. You get the 2 records. Which again, I'm thankful for the sound. There's that. It sounds pretty damn good. It has not been in any box set, the dance or Say You Will, so at least we have them on vinyl. I'm sure at some point they're going to make another box set, and they'll probably include all the way up through this. This would be great, as many fans will discuss. It would be great if they issued this as a deluxe remastered package and included EP, which was the extended play, 4 songs that were cut or done around this time. I think they were done around 2004, 2005, but they've never seen any kind of digital media, not CD, cassette, vinyl. They're just FLAC or download, whatever you want to call that. And that would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to have it on some kind of media, or like I mentioned a few videos back, if they release a 10-inch, that would be pretty cool. Fleetwood Mac has no 10-inch singles. They have picture discs, colored vinyl, but no 10-inch record. So that'd be kind of a neat thing to have. Wrapping up 2004, but it didn't come out until 2023 after the loss of Christine Mcvie, which is a video unto itself and just something that's still hard to talk about. But I'm certainly not trying to detract from direct friends or family, but fans, and many of us on here understand what I'm talking about. It was very, very difficult for us. Again, I understand I'm not her family, I'm not her friend, but it was hard to lose Christine Mcvie. It just so suddenly, not expected. But they reissued. In fact, I didn't take down her, which I should have. Maybe I'll add that later in another time. But they issued both her first record, or maybe I showed it in the first video. I don't remember. But they reissued her first record from 1984. Technically not her first solo release. Of course, she had one as Christine Perfect. But the Christine McVie titled 1984 release was reissued. And this got reissued, which came out originally in, like I said, 2004. In the meantime, which was really weird that she released the record, because I don't want to be here, but I'll do this. But this was at the behest of her nephew, if I'm not mistaken, to just kind of do for her, do in the privacy of her own comfort of her own space. And it's great. I love it. I'm super grateful that something more came out, more music by that beautiful voice. So I love it. I wish a little bit more had come of it. I would have, of course, loved a tour, but because I couldn't see her in 1984. Yeah, so this came out, and this was given a little bit more love. This was given more love, which is surprising because it didn't really do well. I'm taking lots of things out of their saran wrap, but you're really getting a little window into how I am. So that way I don't even have to take the sticker off. See, I have the saran wrap, and I will get this back on the record when I'm done. But that they reissued this at all was really nice, and they gave it a nice treatment. Pardon me. A little right about her. Pardon me. Sure, that really came through. I'm so sorry. The back. And then on I think it's on this one here. Yeah. this is cool, but a little bit disappointing. So the records are here. It's 2 record set, but it's only recordings on 3 sides. But then it says on the label, a beautiful songbird etching on the final side. And it's an etching, sure. Woo! I'm not complaining, okay? They reissued it. They took the time. I'm grateful. I'm not going to say anymore, okay? Yeah. So, yeah. So there's that. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know how many of you have other artists maybe that you're big fans of with etched vinyl. I have one but of Susie, and it's a 7-inch record, and it's like this drawing of her, and it's freaking etched. It's madness. It's gorgeous. And I was expecting something a little bit, detail of feathers, something a little bit more like, not like that Photoshop, whatever. It's, again, trying to be positive here. So I have gone 6 minutes longer than I was trying to keep this about 30 minutes. Yeah, so that was that was enough stuff. I'm again trying to keep it in kind of a chronological order. I think that what I'm going to do probably is I have some Lindsey Buckingham stuff. I think this album, which is 2021, but I think what I have next is 2013 through like now, basically. And it wraps up a lot of Fleetwood Mac stuff, but I don't think there's any more legit Fleetwood Mac releases that aren't box sets. So I think I'm going to throw in the Lindsey Buckingham singles, which one or two might have been missing out of here. Not singles, but albums. Anything else with Stevie, Lindsey, or Chris that I have that goes into more current stuff. And then Stevie's I'll do separately because there's enough Stevie albums to make a video in chronological order of Stevie, not Stevie mixed in with Fleetwood Mac stuff like I've done. Like I had done the Behind the Mask 1990 into Time Space 91. I've just been going straight by the years. But at this rate, with the last couple videos that I'll have of vinyl, I think after this one, this is the most cohesive as far as years with mixed media, with like Stevie, Chris, Lindsey, Fleetwood Mac, etc. But the next video, the pile that I'm looking at over here, is going to be just kind of some mix, and it's got some really odds and ends stuff in there. And then I will do a separate video wrapping up Stevie's vinyl, which may not go in order. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? So we'll just go in Stevie Land order, and the remainder of Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey, and anything that's Christine, whatever I might have order. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Yeah, answer whatever I'd asked earlier, and it'll be interesting to see if on my next video I'm like, oh my god, I missed, because that does seem to keep happening. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Bye.